Hello Alpha 40 fans, welcome to my monthly deck tech and discussion video for the month of November 2024. Today we're going to take a quick look at the deck that I ran in the month of October in the monthly league. It did not do very well, so I was able to get together with some friends last month in person and play test a better version of a deck that I will run in the month of November. There's not going to be a Alpha 40 championship in Las Vegas this year, so I probably won't bring a deck to Las Vegas for MagicCon. However, if there is a tournament that pops up, I'll probably grab the deck that I built today and take with me for the month of end of October, and then run that in the month of November. So for October, quick recap: I ran 7 basic islands for the blue spells. I ran 5 basic planes for the white spells. 1 copy of Forest for the regrowth and the Berserk that I snuck in last month, and 3 dual lands, Tropical Island, Tundra, and Savannah, which gives me 16 mana, which is 40% of the deck, which I think is a great ratio to get at least 2 to 3 mana on your opening hand. I'm going to run 3 Black Vices, is what I did in October. Always run 3 Black Vices, plus a Soul Ring to cast artifacts like Crystal Rod that gives you life off blue spells, and Chaos Orb, which can destruct anything on the table. 1 copy of Icy Manipulator to tap stuff down, so I could cast Time Twister, make them draw cards, take life off the Black Vice. Copy Artifact, which I could copy Artifact the Black Vice or the Soul Ring or the Chaos Orb sometimes. Then a Mana Short to tap them out and take an extra turn. Counter Magic, I ran 1 counter spell, 1 Power Sink. Also an Unsummon to bounce creatures to their hand, a Clone to copy their creatures or my creatures, and 2 Psionic Blasts for creature removal or direct damage if they weren't running creatures. And then for the white spells, I ran 2 Swords to Plowshares as removal, 2 Disenchants as artifact, and enchantment removal. I ran an enchantment. I ran Karma, which was pretty sneaky the previous month, and then a Sarah Angel as a big flyer possible finisher with the help of Berserk to try to double her power, give her trample, and then regrowth to regrow the Time Twister. I ran into 3 awesome opponents. 2 of whom I played the previous year in Las Vegas Alpha 40 Championships. So we had a rematch. All 3 opponents beat me pretty handily this month of October. I lost all 3 matches 0-2 pretty quickly. The first opponent was running a blue-red deck that ran Air Elemental, Psionic Blasts, Lightning Bolts, Fireballs, Orcish Artillery, and also Black Vices. So I'm starting to think that blue-red is maybe more of the powerhouse deck in the meta. And if there were Volcanic Island, blue-red would definitely be the most powerful deck, but since there was no Alpha Volcanic Island, it's a little bit nerfed, and you have to add in other basic mana sources, which kind of keeps the deck in check, which I like that. But I was able to cast my Time Twister that match, was also able to cast a Berserk on their Orcish Artillery, which was kind of a fun tech to get that creature out of the game because I didn't have any other removal in my hand. But ultimately I lost pretty quickly. The second match, I also lost to another blue-red deck, which is becoming popular in the format. They were also running Black Vice, but they had bigger creatures than I did. They had Mahamoti Djinn and Control Magic. So I was able to clone their Mahamoti Djinn at one point, but they Control Magic my clone, and then were attacking with 2 Mahamoti Djinns, and I was out of luck in that match. And then the final match of the month, I faced up against a black-red deck that was also running 3 copies of Black Vice. They won the die roll, and on their first turn, they cast a Swamp and a Black Vice. On my turn, I cast an Island and a Soul Ring and a Chaos Orb, which was pretty good to get down under the Vice. But on turn 2, they cast another Swamp and Sunk Hole my Island, and then I was hard to draw lands after that, and I lost the first game of that match. And then in the second game, it was pretty similar, but they had other spells that were doing more damage to me, like Earthquake. They were also able to cast a Gloom, which made my white spells cost 3 more colorless mana. So I was able to cast a Disenchant for 5 mana to get rid of the Gloom, and then I had a Karma in hand, but I didn't have a chance to play Karma and do damage against their swamps. So that third match also went the way of the opponent. So there was these cards are the cards I would like to bring in for November. I play tested a more red version of this deck last month in person, so that kind of helped me decide what to do. I'm going to pitch most of the blue spells, pitch most of the white spells. I'm going to keep Regrowth in, but I'll get Sarah Angel and Berserk out of here and make this a much more aggressive direct damage red deck, splashing blue, green, and white as well. So I want to add in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to add in 8 basic mountains for all the red spells. So I'm going to take out 4 basic plains and 4 basic islands. So I'll still have 16 mana sources. And then I'm going to add in 2 dual lands. I'm going to add in the red-white plateau and the red-green taiga, and for that I'm going to take out the basic forest and basic plains, since the dual lands provide me those colors plus red, which is what I need. So I've got 5 dual lands, 8 mountains, and 3 islands, which I'm going to keep in because I'm going to keep 3 blue spells in. I want to put in 3 copies of Lightning Bolt, which is really good, which are great creature removal, also direct damage. So let me take out 2 Swords to Plowshares and 1 Disenchant. I'll keep 1 Disenchant in, but I'll take these 3 cards out in exchange for the Lightning Bolts. I want to add in 3 Stone Rains, which do some mana disruption, land removal. So after you Lightning Bolted on the first turn and second turn, you can play your Soul Ring and Stone Rain one of their lands. I'm going to take out the Karma, Sarah Angel, and the Berserk, since we're not going to play those cards. So Stone Rain will come in. Iron Star, I'll take out the Crystal Rod. This gives you life off blue spells, so the Iron Star will give you life off red spells. So then again, if I'm playing an opponent that's running blue-red, I can gain life off their red spells. If they're playing white-red Orcish Artillery, I can also gain red spells, life off of their red spells. I'm going to put in 3 copies of Disintegrate. I'll keep the Regrowth in. I'm going to take out 2 Psionic Blasts and an Unsummon to make room for the 3 Disintegrates. I'm also going to add in 3 Fireballs, and so for that I'm going to take out 1 Icy Manipulator, 1 Clone, and a Counter Spell, and I'll put in 3 Fireballs, and then Fork, which is great because you can fork your Fireball and save mana and maybe do like 2 Fireballs for 5 damage for only like 7 mana instead of 10 mana. So I'm going to take out the Power Sink, put in the Fork. I've also got the handy dandy Fireball damage calculator, which lets you know how many colorless mana you need plus the 1 red to do X damage times X targets. So I'll leave that on the side. And then this will be the 40 cards I'm going to run in November. I'm going to do a quick shuffle and goldfish just to show you what your opening 7 would look like. They've also updated the mana base, the mulligan rules, so that you can mulligan if you have 1 mana instead of 0 mana. So I've got the 3 blue spells plus 3, 4, 5 blue sources, so I have more sources than spells. These are all artifacts. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 red spells and 8, 9, 10 red sources. So more spells than sources, but they're all pretty low mana cost. I also have 1 white spell and 3 white sources, 1 green spell and 3 green sources. So I should be able to cast Regrowth and Disenchant when I need them. I'm going to shuffle everything up really quick. And then I'll record my results for the month of November, and I'll make a video at the end of the month letting you know how this mostly red deck does, and then have a deck tech discussion at the end of the month and see if there's anything I would change. I also do a quick pile shuffle. This shuffle is one way to make sure your cards are sorted pretty well. You make the 8 piles. And then you stack them however you want. And then shuffle. Okay, so you make On the webcam games, you make 3 piles. Your opponent picks the order. Maybe they do the middle pile on top. And then you roll the dice. You goes first, and then you draw your first 7 cards, and you check to see if you want a mulligan. I probably need to mulligan more than I usually do, but this has 3 mana sources, Black Vise and a Lightning Bolt, and a Soul Ring, so that's really good. I would keep that. Then you get to draw your 8th and technically look and see if you want a mulligan, but I'm going to keep this hand. I would probably start with a Mountain and a Soul Ring and 1 Black Vise and take 1 mana burn off of the unused mana. So I would start at 19 and then pass the turn. And they have 7 cards, so they would take 3 damage off that. And you can see this deck would go pretty quickly. I have another mana source. I drew a Tundra, but I'm going to play a red source. I'm going to play the Plateau so that I can Lightning Bolt and Disintegrate. So I think this turn I would probably Lightning Bolt a creature or them, and then I can also tap Plateau for red and 2 colorless. And I could also disintegrate a small creature for 2 or disintegrate them for 2 and put them at 15. Pass the turn. They may have 6 cards, so they're taking 2 more. They'd be at 13. On my turn, I would play another red. I would keep the blue in my hand and not let them know I'm playing blue yet. I could disintegrate here for 4. And then I would pass the turn. They would take 1 damage. They'd be at 8 life already. I'd draw another. I'd play a Mountain. I'd pass. They might be at 7. I would just probably, at this point, I'd play the Tundra and let them know I can splashing blue, confuse them a little bit. They're still at 7 life. On my turn, I would Lightning Bolt them to put them at 4. Let's say they're under the Vise. Then I could start playing my blue spells, and I'm just hoping for 1 Fireball or Disintegrate. I can play Black Vise, obviously, but I would look for Fireball or Disintegrate for the finish. Eventually, I could actually, now I have Savannah and a green source. I could regrow, Disintegrate probably, and then tap a red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and that's probably game pretty quick. So I'm probably going to run this for the month of November. Let me know in the comments how you think this deck will do against the other decks in the format. Like, subscribe, and follow the channel if you want more Alpha 40 content in your feed every month. Appreciate everybody for all the comments on Alpha 40 decks and helping me with suggestions to make this deck better. Good luck to anyone in Las Vegas if you play in any sort of side games in the MagicCon Las Vegas. If there is an official tournament, you might see this deck there. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing everybody in the monthly league in the month of November, and we'll see how this does. Thanks, everyone. See you next month.